Hello, everyone. Welcome back. You are watching the Zenith Glow Astrology YouTube channel. My name is Christina, and I am an astrologer. Thank you so much for being here. I want to start off right off the bat and say happy 11/11 Portal Day. That is the day that I am recording this. It's also the day I'm going to post this. So I'm sorry I'm not getting this out to you sooner. I am very much in the Mercury retrograde vibe of energy, and I have been slowing down and taking my time with things and experiencing delays. This is a delayed message. So it's still getting to you in time. So if you're watching it on the 11/11 portal, congratulations to you. You're right on time. If you're watching it after the portal, trust the timing. You're watching it exactly when you're meant to watch it. So there are some really significant energies today, and we're going to talk about those. But this video is actually more about the Jupiter retrograde cycle that we are entering today, because on the same day as the 11/11 portal, we have Jupiter turning retrograde. So that's what this video is all about. There are some very significant things happening with this retrograde cycle, and I can't wait to talk about them with you. So again, thanks for being here. If you will, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell if you haven't already. And please like this video because those are all things that support my work. And let me just say I really, really appreciate you all for being here and for supporting my work. All right, let's get into it. So, as you all probably know, today is November 11th. This is a portal day. It is a manifestation portal. We have this energy every year, right, on 11/11. 11 is a master number, and 11/11 takes us into 2 and 2 and 4. So we get kind of this like 22/4 energy as well, numerologically speaking. It's a really beautiful energy that brings us into higher potential for manifestation when we consciously attune to the energies and take advantage of them. So basically, when you are consciously putting effort into manifesting, whether that's reciting affirmations and speaking what you want into reality, whether that's doing little manifestation rituals, taking action towards what you want to manifest, or just daydreaming and focusing on it in general. The name of the game is energy, folks. So to get into this manifestation potential, to really take advantage of it, it is all about shifting your energy towards what you want to align with. So there's that. 11 is also a portal number in and of itself. It's a number of initiation. It represents a gateway. Having 11/11, it's like a double gateway, but we're moving through a gateway into a potential higher timeline. It is an initiation, like I said, so sometimes this comes with tests and challenges as well. So if you do feel tested, if you do feel challenged at this time, just know that it's probably there for your highest potential because you're being called, you're being beckoned to step into your highest expression, right? So we're going to overcome obstacles. We're going to confront old patterns and parts of ourselves in order to step into that potential, right? Because we have to drop away what doesn't serve us anymore in order to align with the higher timeline. This is all on par, and I want to mention that every year, if you miss this portal, quote unquote, like if the day passes you by and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't realize it was 11/11 and I didn't do anything to manifest, I didn't put any energy towards it, don't worry. I've talked about this before. Energy is fluid, and yes, there is a peak of energy. Yes, there is a benefit to taking advantage of the energy on the day. But also keep in mind that energy is fluid and there's a window of opportunity, right? We were already in this energy yesterday on 11/10. We're still going to have some of that residual energy tomorrow on 11/12. And even if you miss all of that altogether, don't worry. There's more potential for manifestation, honestly, all through November because it's an 11 month, right? So we have this manifestation energy present all month long. 11/22 is another potent day for manifestation, especially concerning relationships and things that you really want to master or build solidly in your life. And we are also in a Mercury retrograde right now. If you don't know about the Mercury retrograde, I did a video on it a couple of weeks ago. I will link to that. so that you all can find that video if you want to learn more about it. But I talk about the fact that whenever Mercury is retrograde, we are given the opportunity to manifest. Okay, so there's more manifestation potential, right? Because we have energy flowing into us and we have an opportunity to really align with what we want, to get really clear on what we want. And that's just part of the energy. But today is extra special, not just because it's the 1111 portal, but because Jupiter stationed retrograde today. And this is super interesting. Oh, right, because I was also going to say, jumping all over the place. I was also going to mention that 1111 also links into January and the 111 date every year. This is true every year, right? There's kind of like, it's a portal, right? So there's kind of this big window of energy that connects these two dates, right? So we have the 1111 and then we always have the 111 in January, and that is also a big manifestation day. And next year, it's going to be extra special because we will be in a one universal year. In 2026, you add up all those numbers, they reduce down to one. So it'll be 111 1. So, yeah, lots of powerful energy going into the 111 date next year. But just know that that date also links into the 1111 date that we are in today. So again, like, don't worry about missing your opportunity. Trust that you are where you are meant to be. Divine timing is a legit thing, and we all have to surrender to it and trust it. And know that you can never not be right on time. Okay? You are exactly where you're meant to be right now. So, back to Jupiter. Jupiter is my homeboy. I love Jupiter. I love Jupiter so much. I have a ton of Sagittarius in my chart. If you all don't know me, I just have oodles of Sag in my chart, and so I have a lot of Jupiter energy in my chart. So whenever we have significant things going on with Jupiter, I always love it. I do love Jupiter. A lot of people love Jupiter. You know, I've talked about this in other videos. Jupiter is our benevolent teacher. It's the fun, like Robin Williams class clown kind of teacher who is just fun to learn from. We gain a lot of wisdom from Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It magnifies things for us. It brings us opportunities. It brings us grace. It helps us cultivate faith and trust in the universe. In astrology, it can symbolize the way that we find that path to faith in our lives, right? So, when Jupiter is retrograde, this energy is turned inward. Okay, so we're not necessarily stepping out into society and demonstrating those paths to faith. We are actually contemplating and going inward and considering, what is my path to faith and what do I really believe? So, that being said, if you have Jupiter retrograde in your chart, just as an aside, just as a little nugget of information for you to savor, you are likely somebody who, was shown through your environment, through society, relationships, etc. This is what faith looks like. This is what spirituality looks like. This is how you find a sense of purpose and meaning in your life. And then all those things didn't make sense to you. All those things didn't work for you. And so you have had to turn inward to yourself, to your own inner light and guidance to figure out, where do I find meaning in my life? And how do I find a sense of purpose? And what does give me a sense of faith? And likely those things are very different. Those paths are very different than what you were shown and given growing up. So, bully for you. It's a beautiful placement to have. Jupiter also symbolizes our intuition. Right. So it's kind of opposite of Mercury in that sense, because Mercury ruling the opposite sign. So Jupiter rules Sagittarius, right? Mercury rules the sister sign, Gemini. So we have faculties of the mind versus faculties of intuition. I also want to point out, so Jupiter is in Cancer at this time. Now, I did a whole video about this. I will link to that video because it is super relevant to what I am going to be talking about next. And it is crucial to understand the importance of having Jupiter in Cancer, because it is an extremely auspicious placement Jupiter is already an auspicious planet, but it is considered to be exalted in the sign of Cancer, according to Hellenistic astrology. And that means that, well, it's literally what it sounds like. It's exalted, it's raised up, it's brought into prominence. And as a planet that tends to deliver us blessings and opportunities for growth and joy and abundance, having it in a sign in which it feels so at home and so at ease is very beneficial. It's extra beneficial, extra blessings, extra, extra, extra. So definitely recommend checking out that video I did. And I have a super fun analogy that I deliver at the end of the video if you all enjoy my dorky anecdotes. And yeah, anyway, but it is just important to recognize that as Jupiter is transiting through Cancer, it is really, just to kind of sum up some of the highlights of that video, if you don't want to go watch it, it really is illuminating or magnifying for us this theme of Cancer. And Cancer naturally rules the fourth house in astrology, and it's connected to the moon. So it's very much connected to our emotions, and it is connected to the core essence of our being at the deepest level. So as Jupiter transits through Cancer, what we are experiencing is this process of expansion and magnification of the soul, of the core essence of our being, of who we are at our deepest foundation, okay, at our heart. And this will connect to your current home life and your current family situation and your psychological foundation. It will take you back into your roots as well. It will take you into the root of who you are. So that can go back to the past, again, to childhood, to family, to those types of themes. It will go back even further, ancestry, lineage. It will go back even further into, we could say, spiritual ancestry. We could say past lives. We could say alternate dimensions, or even future lives, which are also ancestors, right? So it's all about the root system of who you are. And within all these little branches, all these little roots of who you are, Jupiter is helping us get to that core, bottom, baseline, root note of who you are, okay? Because we each have so many layers piled on top of that original root note. And it is when we can get in touch with the root note and strike that note that it will reverberate throughout the essence of our being, throughout all the other layers. And that is a tone of truth, of authenticity, of who we are. And I heard somewhere, there was some post on some social media site that I frequent. I don't know which one. I have a couple different ones out there because of the whole, what I'm doing here and the astrology thing. But someone said that love is actually not the frequency, the highest frequency that we can hold. It's actually, yeah, it's a misconception that love or unconditional love is the highest frequency that we can hold. They said that the highest frequency we can hold is actually authenticity. And I thought that was very interesting. And that's not to knock love or to say that unconditional love isn't high frequency. It's just this idea that when you are in touch with the authentic self and who you truly, truly are beneath all the layers of everything, you hold this kind of freedom resonance. And within that freedom, you can hold unconditional love, right? So it kind of provides the container for you to be unconditionally loving, right? It kind of holds the container for all the other high frequency expressions that we can have. But you need to have that authentic connection first. You need to embody the authenticity first. So I'm talking about all of this because as Jupiter transits through Cancer, it's helping us to get in touch with that authentic being. Now, there is shadow work involved in this. There is some digging around, we're rooting down into ourselves, and we're probably pulling up some stuff that we don't really want to look at as we go through that process. It's sticky, it's tricky, it's uncomfortable. But again, Jupiter is grace. Jupiter is opportunity. So it's giving us an opportunity to recognize things within ourselves that maybe are misaligned, or maybe we've outgrown, or maybe we just don't really identify with these things, yet we've been carrying them. Many of us are doing a lot of ancestral karmic clearing in this lifetime, and it might be highlighting some of those themes for us. Where have I been carrying around ideas, perceptions, emotional patterns, and conceptions of self that are not actually mine? They're things that were imprinted on me, right? Through recognizing these things, we are given the opportunity to clear those patterns, and again, to get in touch with that root note, the truth of who we really are. So, there can be a little bit of that sticky energy as we go through this, but ultimately it's there for our highest good. Ultimately, it is there to help us hold the highest frequency that we can be. I also talk in that video, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about the video. Go watch it. Just go watch it, guys. I say it so much better than I'm saying now. Mercury's retrograde right now. I can tell. I can tell in my communication. It's a little bit cattywampus. But the last thing I'll say about that video is that Jupiter is also helping us to uncover the components of our shadow that are not necessarily things that are quote unquote negative, or that we've actively repressed because we don't like those parts of ourselves. The shadow also holds the undiscovered aspects of ourselves, okay? What just has yet to be brought into the light. And that includes gifts, talents, special dimensions of our being that we would be more empowered by if we could integrate those things into our conscious awareness. So, Jupiter is giving us an opportunity to come into contact with the truth of who we are. And that includes all the things that make you a freaking fantastic person that you haven't discovered within yourself yet. So, lots of bounty, lots of blessing with Jupiter. Now, why does this matter with Jupiter retrograde? Well, again, it's going retrograde today on 11/11. When planets station, which is when they turn direction or they prepare to stop and turn direction, whether they are going retrograde or direct, we feel that energy very intensely. So there is an intensification of that planet's signature, right? This happening on a portal day is not an accident. This happening 2 days after Mercury turned retrograde is not an accident. There is super strong manifestation energy available to us at this time, which is already true with it being 11/11, which is already true with Mercury retrograde. And then you throw the big fat Jupiter cherry on top. It is like, ooh, the ultimate Sunday of manifestation. So, yeah, I do recommend taking advantage of this energy, but again, this is significant. And the cool thing about this is it's not just today. So there's a lot of things happening with Jupiter during its retrograde cycle. Let's talk about the astrology of it for a minute, and then we can just dig into what does all that mean. Now, I don't have any charts for you because the transit of Jupiter is going to be months and months. So let's just talk about some of the key points. First of all, again, it turned retrograde today. It is shifting retrograde at 25 degrees, 9 minutes of Cancer. Okay. It's going to be retrograde until March 10th. Okay. March 10th. And it will stop its retrograde cycle at 15 degrees, 5 minutes of Cancer before it turns direct again. So we are basically experiencing Jupiter going retrograde 10 degrees back within Cancer. So between 25 degrees and 15 degrees of Cancer, it is trekking backwards. It is doing its little moonwalk dance, and we are going to retrace our steps. By the way, the whole purpose of planetary retrogrades from a symbolic perspective is these planets, as they go in their forward motion, they pass a certain point, a certain angle in relationship to the sun. The sun is our consciousness, right? Once they pass that certain point or angle, and it depends on whether we're talking about an outer planet such as Jupiter or a personal planet such as Mercury, once they pass that point, that planet is now functioning beyond the realm of consciousness, the sun, right? And so it becomes necessary for that planet to shift backwards and to retrace its steps, to go back over things so that we have an opportunity to integrate what it just did, all those steps that it just took, all the energies that it just expressed into our conscious awareness. We as individuals need time to integrate those lessons and those energies. And that is the whole purpose of this retrograde cycle with any planet, regardless of which one it is. And so when we look at the retrograde cycle of planets, for each one, whether it's Pluto, which has like a 6-month retrograde cycle, or whether it's Mercury that has a 3-week retrograde cycle, they will at one point, and it's usually about halfway through the retrograde cycle, that planet will make a special aspect with the sun. Now, if it's Mercury or Venus, which are inner planets, our closest planets, which are within the orbit of Earth, they will make a conjunction with the sun. All the other planets, Mars, Jupiter, etc., 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 they make an opposition to the sun during the retrograde cycles. So it's a different aspect, but that, whether it's a conjunction or an opposition to the sun, it represents a culmination in the retrograde cycle, right? It's the peak, the climax of the retrograde cycle, because that aspect to the sun represents the moment during all of our reflection and retracing and going back over things, the moment that we go, ah, I get it. This is the thing that I needed to recognize. This is the illumination that I've been waiting for. This is the big reveal of the retrograde cycle. Okay? So there is a peak of energy on that day. And so for Jupiter's sake, we're going to just call it the solar opposition, right? It's a significant time during a retrograde cycle. There's a reason why I'm highlighting this for you now. We're going to talk about it in a second. But just know, retrograde cycle, solar opposition, very important, okay? So, Jupiter went retrograde today. It is trine with Black Moon Lilith today. So I got to tell you guys, I had a dream this morning, and the dream very clearly showed me a part of my shadow that still needs to be integrated. And I woke up and thought, thank you, Black Moon Lilith. Because Black Moon Lilith will definitely show us our shadow, and where she lies in your chart represents a part of yourself, an expression of yourself, your energy that you feel other people either reject you or they reject that part of you, or they judge you for it, or you feel like you just are misplaced or don't belong in some way. So this is being highlighted right now because, again, Jupiter is in Cancer, right? Cancer is all about our roots and who we are on those deep emotional psychic levels. So there is an opportunity, Jupiter, to recognize that part of our shadow and keep in mind, especially with Black Moon Lilith, whatever piece of our shadow is there that is revealing itself to us, that is also a key to personal empowerment for each of us. Once we learn to embrace that part of ourselves and not allow ourselves to feel shamed or judged for that part of ourselves, it actually holds the keys to our personal empowerment when we embrace it. So that's on offer today as well, which also helps with manifestation, right? Because the clearer you are in yourself, the more integrated you are in yourself and the vibration that you hold, the better you are able to attract what is meant for you. At the same time today, Jupiter is also trine with both Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and it is sextile with Uranus. So it's making harmonious aspects to all of the outer planets. Now, this is significant because earlier in June, when Jupiter first entered Cancer, it was actually making harsh aspects to the outer planets. So we had some dynamic energy when it first entered this phase, this new transit through this sign. We had some dynamic energy, some tricky things that we had to sort of wrestle with and balance and figure out how to deal with within ourselves. There was a new cycle that was introduced at that time, especially having Saturn and Neptune first entering Aries, and then also shortly after this period, Uranus moved into Gemini. So again, like a new cycle started, and we sort of had to contend with all these new energies, and it brought up these uncomfortable feelings with that Jupiter Cancer placement, right? Because again, a lot of us are imprinted, whether from childhood or through DNA or, ancestry or whatever, past lives. We're imprinted with these things unconsciously, these ideas about who we are. And we function unconsciously holding these perspectives, right? These energies that we carry forward. And this new cycle, represented by these outer planets shifting at those 0 degrees of these new signs that they entered this year, it represents like a whole new beginning in which we can't really take that old crap with us anymore, right? It doesn't align with the new destiny, the new identity, the new purpose. Um, so, Jupiter again is offering us some grace, some opportunity to see those things, those aspects of ourselves for what they are, so that we can release what isn't serving us and so that we can embrace who we truly are. Okay. But that was sticky energy and it was tricky energy at the beginning when it first moved into Cancer. Now that it's doing the retrograde dance and it's starting to go back over things and we're given a chance to reflect and contemplate and integrate these lessons, it's forming harmonious aspects with those planets. Okay. So this is fluid energy and it is allowing us to find solace and peace within, to make peace with ourselves, right? So that's happening now. Okay, also within its retrograde cycle, Jupiter is going to, and it's going to be around November 25th. So this month, Jupiter will form a trine to retrograde Mercury in Scorpio. And at that time, Mercury will be conjunct, almost exactly conjunct with Venus in Scorpio. And because Mercury stations direct on November 29th, this is really close to Mercury's station, so it's going to be starting to slow down at that point. And again, like I just said, when planets station, we feel that energy more intensely. Mercury is about integrating things into our consciousness, right? And this will be past Mercury's solar conjunction, so Mercury's climax of its retrograde. So, and then being conjunct with Venus, this is going to be transformative energy, Scorpio, related to our self-worth, our self-perceptions, our values, and then our relationships and what we are seeking to cultivate in our relationships as a reflection of the relationship that we hold with ourselves. So there's some really beautiful energy because, again, we're talking about a trine aspect. So this is going to be harmonious, flowing energy. Could have some aha moments. We could have some old, let me see, how do I say this? Some old complex dynamics in relationships resurface to be healed, right? This is an opportunity for healing and transcendence. Okay, so beautiful. Let's see, what else do we got here? All right, so I already talked about the January 11th portal, right? So here's what's really interesting. I mentioned the solar opposition, right? So when Jupiter moves into opposition with the sun during its retrograde cycle, this is the climax. This is the peak of Jupiter's retrograde cycle. Being in opposition to the sun means that something is illuminated, right? The sun will shine its light on Jupiter and we will see something that we didn't see before, okay? And with Jupiter, that could literally be some kind of a blessing that comes to fruition for us. And I have to throw it out there because it's an opposition aspect and because oppositions in astrology inherently hold the energy of relationship dynamics. This could be something that comes through a relationship. So, relationships mirror ourselves back to us, okay? So there could be a dynamic happening within a relationship, whether that's a love relationship or whether that's family or friends or work or whatever, some kind of relationship you have with someone else, where there is something that is brought into illumination through that dynamic. And that illumination helps you see yourself more clearly, ultimately, because we're talking about Jupiter and Cancer, right? So you might be given an opportunity to express yourself in a way that is more true to your root note, or you might have something about yourself reflected through your relationship. You might come to recognize something that's really important to you, right? It could show up in a lot of ways. But the point is that solar opposition, super important. Saying it again, solar opposition, really important in a retrograde cycle. Guess when Jupiter has its solar opposition? It's going to be happening between January 10th and 11th. 110, 111. Okay? That is the connecting point. So it goes retrograde on 11/11, and then halfway through its cycle, it happens on 1/11, right? So the climax of Jupiter's retrograde cycle is going to be on 1/11. And again, that's a manifestation day. That is a portal to manifestation. It's extra emphasized because 2026 is a one universal year. So we have 1/11/1, right? 11/11. So we're going to have, it might be that the themes we are experiencing right now, today, at this time, resurface on 1/11, okay? January 11th. Or it could just be that something that we seeded now comes into fruition at that time, right? It's revealed. That's that opposition to the sun kind of energy. Either way, it's very auspicious. And there's more. But wait, there's more. Let me tell you what else is going on. So, at the same time that Jupiter opposes the sun is going to be in a triple conjunction with Venus, Mars, and Mars. That was the only thing. No, I thought it was Mercury as well. Okay, yeah, that's right. I made a note. So Mercury is not going to be in as tight of a conjunction as Venus and Mars with the sun, but it's going to be hanging out close by. So it's going to be picking up some of that energy as well. So again, we have this theme coming around Mars and Venus. This just implies relationships, right? I mean, yeah, Mars and Venus in astrology. They connect to relationships. Definitely Venus a little more so than Mars, but Mars as well because it is our masculine principle, right? There could be something about the masculine and feminine within us or those dynamics within our relationships that's highlighted during this solar opposition. And then again, Mars is also our desire and the way that we wield our free will in order to connect with our desires, in order to achieve them. So there's a lot kind of coalescing at this time. Venus is, what we attract and what we value. All these things are fused together with the sun. And then that energy opposes Jupiter. And then again, Mercury is kind of hanging out. So it's all kind of coalescing in our awareness, our consciousness at that time. And there really could be something beautiful, something blessed that comes into our lives or that's seeded or just that we become aware of at that time. So, I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting. And then very last, Jupiter will turn direct. It will station direct on March 10th. By the way, before it does that, we're going to have a new moon annular solar eclipse in Aquarius, and it'll be our first Aquarius eclipse. And that is going to happen on February 17th. So we have this crazy solar opposition on January 10th and 11th. And then, about a month later, we have a solar eclipse. And then about a month after that, Jupiter will station direct. It's when it stations direct, it's actually going to be trine with Mercury, and Mercury will be retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So here we go again. We've got this Mercury retrograde energy coming back around when Jupiter stations direct. The synchronicities are just mind-boggling. And again, it just reaffirms for me personally that all of this is divinely orchestrated. The timing of all of this is divinely orchestrated. So, I did a little, just a little tiny reading, just to catch, a different glimpse. Like I can see a lot of what's happening just through the astrology, but I wanted to take a more esoteric perspective on, hey, what kind of energy or opportunity, because it's Jupiter, is on offer during this retrograde cycle. So here's what I got. So just a little tiny reading, but it is very significant. So it is so clear. It is so clear what's happening. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger for you guys. Shoop, shoop. So we have our primary card for this retrograde cycle is this Wonders card. And this card is all about what wonderful things can you experience in your reality? What magical, synchronistic, mind-blowing, awe-inspiring things can come into your experience when you open to those possibilities, okay? When you open to magic, when you open to the divine, to infinite potential, these things will come into fruition. You will be amazed at what can manifest when you let yourself believe in it. That is the energy. That is like the primary focus of this Jupiter retrograde cycle. Like if we took away all the other cards, that's the most important one. I find that so beautiful and so on par with Jupiter energy, right? Jupiter's like, yeah, man, you have to see it to believe it. You have to believe it to see it. Like if you just open yourself to it, it can happen. It's getting us in touch with that belief, right? With that potential that lies within all of us, okay? It's showing very clearly this is a new beginning, right? We know that. Today is 11/11. It's a portal day. This is absolutely a new beginning. That new beginning is very important, though, and it ties into the other cards that we see here. So, we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is super interesting because in astrology, the Wheel of Fortune major arcana card is tied to Jupiter. So, this is Jupiter energy. This card is all about cycles, and it is all about the shifting of cycles to align us with different timelines, to align us with different opportunities, right? It's about the way that energy shifts in our lives to bring new circumstances, new opportunities, new relationships, new experiences, okay? So again, it can be very blessed, and it usually is considered a lucky card, or it usually, especially when you're reading cards upright rather than reversed, it will tell us that there's something new coming in and it's a blessed opportunity. Being side by side with the Sun card, yeah, talk about the Sun is the most positive card in the tarot, period. It is the most positive card. It signifies a yes. It signifies joy, happiness, fulfillment, blessings. It signifies the inner child, the light of the inner child. And again, this Cancer energy connects to the inner child as well, because it is about getting in touch with the seat of the soul, right? It's the sign that precedes Leo, okay? So we very much have this opportunity to connect with the light within, and we are going to have a shifting of timelines, of opportunities, of events, of fate. Fate, the Wheel of Fortune is all about fate, fated events coming in that are ours, things that are meant for us. We are now open to receive these things, and they are bright and beautiful, and we want to say yes to them. Okay. We also have in this deck, it's the Muse of Emotions, but this is the King of Cups. Okay. So again, Jupiter in Cancer. We are talking about becoming a master of our emotions and our psychic self. Okay. The King of Cups is calm, he is peaceful, and he is completely balanced in his emotions. He knows how to balance mental discernment with emotional truth, right? He is always in control of his emotions, but not in like a rigid, repressed kind of way, more like in a psychic attunement kind of way. So we then have the only quote unquote negative card in this reading, which is the Five of Cups. So this card is super significant, all right? And this is part of the opportunity that Jupiter is bringing us as it retrogrades through Cancer, right? We are going back over the lessons, the things that Jupiter has been pulling up for us within our deepest psychic self, our emotional being, our psychological imprinting. Part of that is some of the sticky energy, the trauma, the sadness, the disappointment, the loss, the feelings of rejection, the betrayals, everything that we hold negative emotion around, those things are imprinted in our cellular memory, right? Your cells are immersed in water, right? Our bodies are water. Water holds memory, okay? Emotion gets stored in the water, in our memory. And when we hold those emotional patterns, those things, and they get frozen, right? This card is about the frozen water. Those signatures are imprinted on our frequency, and that's what we attract. We keep attracting the same things when we hold those signatures. That's why Jupiter is giving us the opportunity to dive deep within ourselves to explore what kind of frozen memories am I holding on to? What kind of patterns have imprinted that need to be thawed and released so it can flow freely again? Okay. So as we thaw the old emotions, as we release the negativity, as we let go of the past and what is no longer serving us, but also maybe what was never really true to who we are, we open up the mastery of the King of Cups and we allow ourselves to flow more freely in receptivity of what truly belongs to us. You may have noticed I skipped the soulmate card, saving the best for last. Jupiter, for each and every one of us that is aligned with this at this time, is bringing us an opportunity to connect with our soulmates. Now, soulmate is many things. Yes, it is definitely love. It is definitely romantic partnership for those that resonate with this. If you don't resonate with that, just know that soulmates are also your soul tribe. They are your soul family. They are kindred spirits, okay? So, we are also being aligned to finally, through fate, through twists of time and these shifts within ourselves that we can now attract, we are going to come into contact with our true soulmates, our true family. And that is a huge blessing. And this makes so much sense. We're going to take this away now. This makes so much sense when you think about all those planetary alignments, right? Because I talked about, Venus and Mercury. The first thing that happens, after Jupiter initially goes retrograde today, is it's going to form a trine to Mercury conjunct Venus, okay, in Scorpio. So it might be that we are just transforming old patterns or old perspectives within ourselves connected to the expressions of these planets so that we can clear the path to bring in what belongs to us and what truly resonates. Or we might actually be having, things come up, relationships come up at this time. But again, because it's a trine, because it's Jupiter, this is very blessed energy. This is healing energy. It might be that we have an opportunity to heal old relationships that we were wounded by through open and honest conversations, things that transform us, right? Scorpio, things that we can transcend and rebirth. So you might be reformulating those relationships. You might be rebirthing those relationships in some way, or you might be rebirthed just by having clarity, closure, healing, speaking your truth. It can happen in a lot of ways, but the whole point is that there is a blessing within that energy, right? Then later, on the 111 date next year, when it enters that solar opposition, once again, it's not just going to be opposite the sun, it's also going to be opposite Mars and Venus, which will be conjunct the sun. So again, we have this dynamic both through the functions of Mars and Venus, the masculine, the feminine. So again, if this is a love relationship, it could be that divine union, that masculine, feminine coming into union. That can also be within yourself. But again, opposition aspect implies relationships, okay? So I'm not surprised at all to see that the soulmate card came up in this reading. And again, that can be a lot of different types of relationships, but it is all very exciting because it's all about you getting into resonance with your truth, your authenticity, mastering your emotions, getting rid of all the crap that you've been carrying around that isn't really part of your true soul signature, and then stepping forward, opening up to what is meant for you, the blessings, the opportunities, the twists of fate, the things that are meant to reawaken you, and the things that you want to say yes to, right? it's a whole new timeline. It's a whole new set of experiences that we are all ready to shift into and to embrace. And Jupiter is just raining blessings down on us. And so this is very exciting. And again, happening on 11/11, I mean, the numerology doesn't lie. The synchronicities don't lie. There is so much potential in this, and I find that super duper exciting. Can you tell that I'm excited? All right. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Hit the notification bell. Please like this video. Please share it far and wide with anyone if you think that they might resonate with what I'm saying. And I just appreciate you all so much. And I wish you all just so much magic and manifestation and beauty and wonder today. I hope you take advantage of it. Whatever day you're watching this, it doesn't matter. You can always manifest. Doesn't matter what the energies are like or what day you're doing it on or whatever. You always hold the power within you to manifest. So step into your power, step into your light, take ownership, and know that anything is possible. All right, there's your pep talk. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. I'll talk to you later. Bye.